Welcome to our final module. This module is all about taking everything you've learned about digital products and applying it at scale. I like to call this module Go Big or Go Home. We're on our final lesson now. Congratulations on making it here. Let's get started. At the end of this module, you will understand and be able to deftly handle these common demands on your time, organizing around products in your organization, using product operations to scale, handling technical debt, platform and tooling efforts, dealing with requests, and finally, we will finish with the course wrap-up. We start this module with introducing our fifth and final golden rule of product-led growth, organizing around product. We'll show you how to tame several elements of your job that can otherwise impede your ability to scale, including working with sales, data teams, and executives on product-led growth. We'll also explain the purpose of product operations and how this function can help you scale. As a reminder, this is the fifth rule of product-led growth. The previous rules focus on your users and your product. This rule is about organizational best practices. Do you recall the lesson on digital transformation from the beginning of the course? We're going to build on that as you learn how to engage your coworkers in your efforts to become a product-led growth organization. Changing your organization and therefore other departments' responsibilities can be tough. By putting product at the center of your product-led growth team, you're asking a lot of people to change how they work and how they are evaluated. For instance, customer success may previously have been judged on successful onboarding and implementations. In a product-led company, everyone is dedicated to enabling users to onboard themselves. Customer success can instead focus on helping select customers get more value out of your product and become more sticky as a result. Rather than being judged on time to onboard, customer success may now be evaluated on churn rates of their accounts. But they are not the only team who may need to change. Sales teams may need to learn how to sell product-qualified leads. Design teams can shift their mindset from satisfying the buyers to delighting the users. Marketing teams can ask, how can we use our product as the #1 lead magnet? As a digital product manager, you can help make these changes happen. The most important way is to ensure that all employees are fluent in the product. It's your job to make sure your coworkers have the training, expertise, and any other tools they need so that they understand your product to the fullest extent. As much as possible, you should enable customers to self-service. Work to invest more headcount in product, design, and engineering over sales and customer success. Deploy UX best practices everywhere. Remember that the companies who have the best design reap all the rewards of design. Good design isn't good enough anymore. And dedicate product teams to growth and experimentation. Growth product managers can be tasked to find opportunities to improve your pirate metrics and ensure customers get to that aha moment using your product faster. Embracing product-led growth can be a game changer for your company, but you need to bring everyone along. Let's look at a couple of teams in particular and how they change in a product-led growth company. Sales teams are an essential part of a product-led growth company. However, with many smaller customers now using your product with the help of a salesperson, your sales team can focus on bigger accounts. Enterprise customers tend to have more customized needs than an individual, and they still need the special touch and attention that only a sales team can provide. Check any pricing page you see online and you'll see a Contact Us button for the enterprise-level product. For other customers, sales teams can find opportunities to cross-sell and upsell them on your products. Remember value metrics? If you understand your personas and segments and you've honed in on the right value metrics in your pricing strategy, there will still be ample room for your sales team to sell service packages, new integrations, and customizations beyond what your customers bought for themselves. If your sales team is not convinced of the value of product-led growth, just explain the power of product-qualified leads. If half of an enterprise's employees are already using and familiar with your product, the sale will be much easier. Let's look at how to work with your data team in a product-led growth world. Your data team can help you prioritize and run experiments in your product. They also can help you capture more usage data from your product, combine that with data from other teams in a data warehouse, and enable deep analysis to this broad resource for your entire company. They can also help you evaluate new technologies to make your work easier. Quality data is essential to your work as product managers and to creating product-led growth. So work closely with your data teams. Walk them through the different usage metrics you may want to collect from your product and work together on the analyses. You may also need to invest time and effort from your development teams to support your data teams, and the investment will be worth it. Let's now go to the very top of your company and your corporate strategy. What does it look like when product-led growth is fully aligned with your company's leadership? The most important step is to ensure that your company vision and product roadmap are aligned around a product-led growth strategy. This one can be tricky because it might mean investing in a product that you are yet selling or may have to give away for free. Next, make the user experience your guiding North Star. UX should influence every decision because great design is an expectation in digital products, and all parts of your company will benefit with an improved user experience. Third, you have a culture of data and experimentation. You're not going to get growth right on the first try. You will have to iterate, start sharing your goals, data, and subsequent learnings right away, and continue to share those as you conduct more experiments. Remember to get the data you need to fight those hippos. Fourth, help your executive team track your product-led growth KPIs. Create easy-to-access dashboards and reports including metrics like usage, conversion rate, active users, and churn. Be as transparent as you can about the product KPIs that translate to the most important business outcomes. Finally, any enterprise strategy can coexist with product-led growth, but can't distract from product-led growth initiatives. You need to find the right balance between enterprise work and product-led growth work. We'll talk more about how to balance this later in the module. As companies, products, and product teams grow, it's common to experience growth-related problems. For example, you may be struggling to gather data from around the organization and deliver easy-to-understand reports. You might not have time to experiment consistently, organize customer feedback and user testing sessions, manage cross-team communication, plan your releases and roadmaps, and more, all at the same time and all at a high level of quality. If you've experienced these or other scaling challenges, a product operations or prod ops practice can help. In the same way that your development team focuses on creating software while a DevOps team manages the deployment and maintenance of that software, prod ops teams help product teams with the scalable, repeatable processes and artifacts that help you manage your products. Common prod ops responsibilities include training people and writing documentation, managing releases, helping with pricing and packaging, pre-release programs, managing and governing roadmap assembly, analyzing data and product feedback, and reporting on product metrics and KPIs. For example, implementing and maintaining product management tools can be a major endeavor. Letting prod ops take on this responsibility really frees product management to focus on strategy, prioritizing, and communicating on the roadmap, and achieving product market fit. Not every organization needs all these functions centralized, but many would benefit from this structure. And if your organization has people who are eager to join the product management team, prod ops can be the entry-level step to start them on that career path. Let's move on to discuss the three-headed beast that too often eats product and engineering organizations: tech debt, platforms, and tooling. Why do tech debt, platform initiatives, and internal tooling efforts belong together? Because all of them impact you as a product manager and need product stewardship to effectively deal with them. All technical organizations need to deal with these users during their evolution and growth. They are inevitable. And all three require investment, mainly in terms of developer hours and headcount. But unlike the projects that product managers usually shepherd, these aren't always about delivering value directly to customers. Instead, the benefits of these projects are usually internally focused, but they also compete for your development team's time. As a digital product manager, you need to understand this work and prioritize enough of it throughout the year to enable delivery of quality and value in a timely fashion, but not so much that value delivery to customers grinds to a halt. You need to champion this work to your executives and, if necessary, push back when you don't see an ultimate benefit to customers and the business. Tech debt is the interest that you pay to keep your technology up to date. Your products are almost certainly based on a variety of component technologies from third parties. Like everything in the tech world, these components, frameworks, platforms, engines, etc., have a useful shelf life until they are obsolete, unsupported, or both. Examples include obsolete or unsupported JavaScript frameworks, browsers, SQL engines or SQL engines, and operating systems. Tech debt also accrues when developers code in a hurry and take shortcuts. Shipping software quickly is about assessing risk and cutting some less risky corners. But it means that sometimes developers need to go back and update their code, known as refactoring, to fix the shortcuts that they took. If you fail to address technical debt for too long, it can become a very big problem. Too much tech debt can really slow your team down. It can eventually stop you in your tracks and require very significant cleanup, potentially replacing huge portions of your product. This often happens for the simple reason that engineers dislike this kind of work. But if you don't manage tech debt, it can expose your company and your customers to critical security risk. Fortunately, there are established best practices to manage tech debt. Many companies who practice Agile reserve some capacity in each sprint to pay down debt. This works best as an ongoing practice, but may not be sufficient if you are already deeply in debt. Sometimes major areas of cleanup need to become quarterly or annual goals, and there are times you will need to devote significant resources to cleanup efforts. An example from 2020 is how Zoom paused feature development for a period of months to ensure it had upgraded its security in the wake of exponential adoption. Security issues may not all have been considered tech debt by Zoom, but the philosophy is the same. For these big efforts, add them to your roadmap and make sure you clearly explain why these are necessary. Speaking of explaining, providing visibility to these areas is part of the digital product manager's job. Your job is to translate the business impact of your current debt for other stakeholders, as well as paint the picture of future benefits you will recoup when you have reduced your backlog of debt. If you can, a best practice is to explain the impact of eliminating tech debt in the form of metrics, such as reduced time to deliver new releases or increases in developer efficiency. Next, let's talk about platforms. The word platform in the technology world today is a very broad and sometimes an elusive concept. At its core, a platform is anything that you can build upon or extend to others so they can connect to it, whether it's for your internal teams or for external customers. It can be an operating system or software development environment. For example, Amazon Web Services are not only for customers to build their products on, they're also the same services that Amazon's own engineers use when building their own products. Platforms can be an app as well. Facebook, for example, is an application for end users to socialize, but also has web services for integrating with other services and exposes its social graph to enable a different set of use cases, and is thus also a platform provider. Many companies work to transform and consolidate their individual applications into platforms in a platform initiative, which your company might take on as a major project. This work is very similar to resolving tech debt because it can consume significant developer time and effort without an immediate customer-facing payoff. These projects are often a necessary, well-intended effort to improve performance and enable scale, reduce redundancies and conflicts resulting from acquisition, attain or increase market leadership, and enable partnerships. Platform efforts can have multiple strategically significant benefits to your customers and to your company. As such, you have three primary constituents when working on platform initiatives: customers, engineering teams, and your partners. Your customers win because the products they use can now be extended and customized for their needs. Engineering teams win because your company can standardize the technologies it uses, accelerating the time it takes to develop solutions for your customers. And partners win because they can integrate their products into your platform, giving them new revenue streams, filling gaps in your product, and making it more likely that they'll stick to your product. Platform efforts can be a minefield for product managers to navigate. On one hand, they can unlock significant business capabilities. On the other, they consume your development teams for a long time and can have a high opportunity cost. Such efforts can also become politicized and difficult to manage. There can be disagreements between the teams developing the platform and the teams using it. Platform projects are also hard to estimate and can rife with scope creep, creating launch delays for customers. For all these reasons and more, when you work on platform product, you must understand the business case for it. Work with technical leadership to understand if they are anticipating cost savings or any benefits for customers. If you don't agree with the ROI of the initiative, discuss this with your management. There might be better opportunities to pursue. And don't forget the power of minimal products to help you deliver quickly while you iterate towards the final version of your platform. Even with platforms, you want to get feedback from customers whenever possible. Tooling projects are automation efforts targeted at efficiency, cost and error reduction, and acceleration of key business functions within your company. They usually focus on one simple job to be done and provide measurable financial benefits to your company and indirectly to your customers. Because of all of this, tooling efforts are attractive to executives. Like technical debt and platform initiatives, some internal tooling efforts can take developer time and effort without providing direct benefit to customers. As with other major product initiatives, product managers should partner with the organization asking for tooling to develop a business case. You can choose between building it yourself, hiring someone to build it for you, or buying a SaaS product that provides that same outcome for your team. Price all your options and choose the one that maximizes your outcomes. When you decide to proceed, tooling efforts should also have a digital product manager at the helm, ensuring best practices are still followed, like understanding customer needs and measuring outcomes. Everything you've learned so far in this course applies to platform efforts and internal tooling projects. Just as with other types of projects, aim to produce an MVP and validate that you have provided something that is valuable to your customer before continuing to invest in it. Prioritize essential work first and follow agile best practices such as customer research, prototype evaluation, research spikes, and usability testing. Make sure you have solid executive sponsorship for the project and a thorough understanding of the business case. Be transparent about your work. Check in frequently on your progress and be open with your management about the challenges you're facing. When you're done with these efforts, you can communicate your success like any other product launch, with clear, validated outcomes measured with KPIs. Let's move now from internal products to customer support and how you can better manage your relationship with them. If you are like many product managers, you work closely with the support team for your product. The support team is a great source of information since they are talking to your customers about problems every day. Regardless of how much care you and the team put into the product, including testing, automating tasks, providing training, and so on, something will inevitably break. It might be something you overlooked in testing, or it might be due to hosted services failing. Other times, customers can make critical errors that they need help undoing. As you scale, you must prepare for support incidents broadly as an organization. A runbook can help you with this. This includes critical procedures and the roles of development, IT, support, and product management, depending on the type of customer issues. As much as you can, implement system monitoring and automatic notifications to let you know systems are degrading or broken, even before your customers find out. Make these available to your support team so they can answer the question for themselves. Is this user error or is this down? Service level agreements or SLAs help your support team. Often when a problem occurs, your team needs time to evaluate it, make a decision, and execute on a fix. Make a commitment to respond to issues in a timely fashion and make that a guarantee. Make sure your SLAs are fair for both you and your customers. When incidents do occur, notify customers as soon as you can when they are likely to be impacted. It's now possible to proactively inform customers in product when you discover a defect or issue with the same tools you use for product analytics. You can also provide instructions for workarounds while your team works on a fix. When necessary, get on the phone with customers to explain your findings, process, and how you plan to address the issue. Be honest. Don't make false promises. If you are prepared, you communicate well and ensure your process is sound. Your customers will be reassured at your company's competence and ability to respond to issues. Finally, set up a HEAL desk with your support team. This is a regular meeting with that team to review support issues, problem areas in the product, upcoming changes, and anything else to keep support in sync with product. In short, you need to be there to support your support team and operationalize your processes to ensure your organization stays healthy and customers get the best possible experience from your product and services. One of the most common issues for product managers is how to prioritize all the different requests. The ability to prioritize must become one of the digital product manager's superpowers. Let's find out why. Learn about several ways to prioritize your team's work and how to leverage professional services. Remember this picture? Ideas are all around you, and it is up to you to listen and investigate to understand which ones are valuable, feasible, and viable. Most requests are about outputs. Please add this feature or fix this bug. Your customers and teams are not going to state their problems or goals or jobs to be done. It's up to you to uncover the underlying meaning behind the request to determine how important they are to your product and your company. As we mentioned, support is a great source of ideas and requests because they talk to your customers all the time. But you shouldn't create your roadmap just from support requests. These inputs should be analyzed along with those from other teams, your customers, competitors, and more. If you have a lot of users, you will get a lot of requests, and that's good because it means people care about your product and want to see it improve. But the amount of ideas they provide can be overwhelming and will only increase as your company scales up. So how can you manage the increasing flow of ideas? First, crowdsource those ideas in a structured way. Create a standardized system for taking these requests in, and as they are likely to come from all places. If you are receiving these via a mix of email, hallway conversations, and Slack messages, you are likely to lose a lot of what you are learning. Instead, put the onus on the idea provider to submit your idea to a specific place. Idea tracking and form creation tools can make collecting and analyzing input from internal stakeholders much easier. You will also need to decide whether to open up direct requests to customers themselves or make your collection internal only. A word of caution. If you are opening up to direct customer feedback, prepare to do a lot of communicating with customers to explain why their request won't be acted upon when they don't align with your product strategy. Whatever system you implement should minimize the friction of making a request. Many tools allow you to put a link directly in your product for submitting feedback. It may also make sense to combine the system with a knowledge base that searches for similar issues or related documentation. The next best practice is analyze and prioritize. Ensure requests are filtered into one funnel and backlog. Then you can prioritize, segment, and cluster them into themes or similar requests according to your organization's process. Before settling on priorities, and certainly before including items in your roadmap, you will want to fully understand the why behind the request. Taking request as a gateway to further customer research, not as a substitute. As with any prioritization, focus as much as possible on items that are likely to have high ROI for your organization. Make your decision processes and progress transparent so stakeholders don't view your prioritization work as a black box or a popularity contest. When needed, reach out directly to a requester to explain your decision to delay or reject a particular request. And be sure to schedule regular reviews of issues so they don't grow stale in your backlog. In many cases, it is safe to close old issues that have no follow-up request. The final best practice is disseminate. Engage with and empower others who understand your process and the roadmap you are promoting. These people can serve as ambassadors of your efforts to respond well to customer requests and provide value for your product. Rather than focus on what you're not doing out of this backlog, talk to customers about your strategic roadmap. And celebrate wins. When customers' requests are in progress or implemented, make sure your stakeholders and customers know about it. Prioritizing requests is important because time is limited and you should always seek to work on the most valuable items first. But why else? Having a clear and communicated prioritization method helps you move a subjective process into an objective one, reducing bias and aligning your team. But how can you find the right speed of prioritization? How can you balance small with large items? And when should you make exceptions? There are still a lot of questions. Let's look at 7 ways to put prioritization into practice. One tool you can use to prioritize is to score incoming requests. List all the needs or features in one column. For each one, pick a set of criteria for judging those ideas. Try 3 to 6 total. You'll want to include a few that reflect your product and business outcomes, as well as impact-related measures like how much pain it causes for your users or % of customers impacted. For each criteria, assign it a weight and give a higher weight to the teams that are the most important, like those which match your OKRs. Multiply each score by the weight and add them up to get a total score. Then sort your list by the total score. The items at the top are the ones you should pursue. You can use this method with your team to get agreement on different priorities. The tool becomes the focus and avoids some of the personality conflicts that can arise during prioritization. And doing it together gives you a chance to get buy-in and accountability from other team members. You can also run your scores and decisions by other stakeholders to make sure they agree. In fact, it's okay if you change the scores based on feedback or circumstances change. The benefit of this system is that you're moving away from opinions and towards data to make decisions. There are other tools you can use for prioritization, and the RICE model is a simpler one that also helps you make data-driven decisions. RICE stands for Reach, Impact, Confidence, and Effort. Reach is measured in the number of people or events that would be impacted by this idea for a time period. That might be customers per quarter or transactions per month. As much as possible, use real measurements from product metrics instead of pulling numbers from a hat. For example, if you're updating your reporting, the reach would be every customer who uses reporting in that time period, like 2,000 customers per quarter. Impact is a measure of the effect this work will have on a customer or user. It might be an improvement in a conversion rate, a pirate metric, or an increase in customer delight. Use a scale to help, such as rating this from 1 to 5. Not all ideas are equal, so you also factor in your confidence about these estimates. If you think a project could have a huge impact but don't have data to back it up, confidence lets you control that. Confidence is a percentage, and this is another measure where scales can help. For example, 100% is high confidence, 80% is medium, and 50% is low. Anything below that is total moonshot. Be honest with yourself. How much support do you really have for your estimates? The last factor is level of effort, which can be t-shirt size if you are early in a project. Use 5 for extra large projects down to 1 for small projects. Estimate each of these for all of your projects. Multiple reach, impact, confidence, and divide by level of effort. The best and most valuable projects will quickly bubble to the top. Another way you can prioritize is to use the Kano model. Developed by a professor in quality management, the Kano model helps you identify features that increase customer satisfaction and loyalty. The Kano model classifies features in 3 categories: must-haves, performance features, and delighters. What are must-haves? Simply put, they are the features you absolutely must have. If you're making a car, must-haves include 4 wheels, a speedometer, and door locks. If your car doesn't have these, people will not buy your product. Some features are performance features. They're not required, but they are nice to have. They might be enough to convince someone to buy your product. On a car, performance features include a touchscreen interface and enhanced stereo system. Some features go beyond performance and provide pure delight to people. On a car, that can include self-driving features or automatic parking. They're exceptional features that will encourage specific people to use your product, they'll distinguish your product in the market, and they'll greatly satisfy your customer. Note that the features that fit these categories will provide different amounts of user satisfaction and will require varying amounts of effort. You need to weigh these factors when deciding which ones to implement. The Kano model also comes with a word of warning. The features that are delighters today become the performance features of tomorrow. Self-driving cars are rare today, but in the near future, this will be a performance feature on more cars later, and eventually a must-have feature on all cars. Think carefully about how to mix these together in your prioritization. A few delighters and performance features can sometimes even make up for the lack of some must-haves in your product. Another way to prioritize is through a 4-quadrant analysis. This is a quick and dirty analysis for categorizing each feature, benefit, or market need on the basis of customer value and cost or effort to develop. This is a great exercise to do with some sticky notes and a large board, and it is very simple. Create a table with 4 sections. One axis is cost or risk to develop from high to low, and the other is customer value from low to high. Now, write each feature on a sticky note and place it on the chart at the appropriate place based on those 2 factors. When you're done, look at the 4 sections. The low-cost, high-value features are quadrant 1. Do as many of those as you can. The high-cost, high-value features are next. Consider doing these, but think about how you can create them as minimal products to reduce your cost and risk. Quadrant 3 are the low-value, high-cost items. Avoid these unless they're an absolute necessity. Finally, quadrant 4 are the low-cost, low-value items. You might squeeze an item in from this quadrant if there's a customer requirement to do so. The key issue in 4-quadrant analysis is who decides which quadrant to place a particular feature in. There is always some amount of subjectivity in these decisions, but it can be a fast way to take a lot of low-value items off the table. A fun way to prioritize features with stakeholders or customers is to find out how much they'd pay for each feature. Get at least 4 people to do this exercise with you. Start with a list of potential features you're considering and set the price of each feature proportional to the effort it will take to build or price you'll charge for it. Make sure there's more than $100 of features to choose from. Now, give those customers or stakeholders a pretend budget of $100 and have them spend their cash over different features to see what they find most valuable. You'll have great data to prioritize which features are the most valuable for them based on the trade-offs they make. Strict prioritization of all features is one way to manage multiple requests for work. But often you work on teams with multiple objectives, and you'll need to balance those along with tech debt and fixing bugs. One way to prioritize effort in these cases is to allocate your team's time against those larger objectives. For example, you can dedicate half your team's time to your top OKR, less of your team to a second OKR, and the remaining time on tech debt and bugs. Measure your effort against these streams with every sprint to make sure you're staying within the percent you allocated. This is also a good technique to use when stakeholders are asking you to spend more time than you have on multiple objectives. Instead, fix the amount of effort you'll spend on any single objective, then complete as much as you can within that allocated effort. A final way to scale up prioritization is to outsource work to professional services. Professional services teams usually help customers implement your product and customize it for their specific needs. They can create one-off custom versions of your product. They also provide a consulting capability that adds value to customers and that strengthens and complements your standard product. Ideally, they can provide customization through configuration and not through bespoke one-off versions of your software. And as a bonus, customers will pay well for this help. Professional services provide one-time revenues without disrupting recurring revenue. Customers who have a personal relationship with your professional services team or who have customized your product are more likely to stay with you even if they are not fully satisfied with every feature. Professional services is a key component of your whole product, but there are several things to keep in mind. In B2B, professional services can be a great way to keep customers happy while enabling the company to stick to your roadmap. Still, you should avoid one-off customization that pushes a customer off your roadmap. Make your product configurable and extensible to avoid the need for customization. Congrats, you're nearly done. Let's wrap up everything we've learned in this course and explain the next steps in your journey. When we started this course, we promised you 3 things. We explored how a variety of companies, including some well-established business and consumer brands, adapted legacy products and thinking to the digital space. We showed you how to manage digital products by running experiments and iterating deliberately and quickly. Finally, we helped you acquire the skills you need to set better goals, move faster, and make data-driven decisions. We've gone through quite a journey together. We covered the importance of practices, culture, and data. Then we learned how to explore problems and solutions with design thinking. And finally, we covered execution, including continuous validation, agility, and scaling out your practices. So what comes next? If you're taking the certification exam, you'll want to read the study guide and take the practice exam in this learning management system. When you're done, follow the instructions to schedule your exam. The exam facilitators will give you all the details you need to take the exam. Keep in mind that just because you learned all these new skills, putting them into practice is a continuous journey. When we started this class, we talked about the steps to learning a new subject. This is a reminder that as you begin to master your new skills and experience the conscious competence part of the improvement process, your work will slow down. It'll feel like you put your shoes on the wrong feet as you try out your new skills and thought processes. You'll make mistakes and you might feel bad because of it. Bear with it that you'll pass through the valley of resistance and chaos. Soon you'll find your feet and be much more effective at your job. Then you can focus on a new set of skills to improve and begin the process again. Improving as a product manager is a never-ending process. Keep striving to get better and keep working to improve your skills in organization. Congratulations on completing the course. We have one last favor to ask before you go. Please complete the survey at the end of this course. You'll find the details for that survey right after this lesson. Thank you for all the hard work you put in throughout this course. You're well on your way to becoming a great digital product manager. From all of us at 280 Group, good luck on your journey.